A very good morning to all of you, and I hope you all are fine. Myself, Preeti Sharma, and welcome to the social science class. Yes, beta, today we are going to start a new chapter, chapter number 1 of civics, and the chapter name is the Constitution and the need for laws. So, basically, in this chapter, beta, we will read about the meaning of constitution, the importance of the constitution, need for laws, laws and dissent, and about the rule of law. So let us start, beta. So let's start, beta. This is your first chapter. The chapter name is the constitution and the need for laws. See, beta, what is rule? A rule is an established principle, a standard or a guide for action, and basically these rules are essential for the efficient and proper governance of a country. So these rules and principles are basically laid down in the constitution. Okay, and now the definition of the constitution. What do you mean by the constitution? See, it is an important document laying down the fundamental principles of a country, in which all the fundamental principles of a country, and the country is governed by these principles. Basically जो हमारी country है उसके सभी rules और principles हमारे इंडिया के constitution में mentioned है. And the country is governed by these principles, and laws are also formulated according to these rules. Basically जो laws है वो formulate होते हैं according to these, and thus the constitution is also regarded as the fundamental law of a country. Now see, where do we find the laws that govern our country? From the Indian Constitution. And our constitution was drafted by the Constituent Assembly, and the Indian Constitution, this work was done under the membership of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. That's why Dr. B.R. Ambedkar को father of the constitution भी कहा जाता है. And it took almost 3 years to complete this document. The Constituent Assembly of India took 2 years, 11 months and 17 days to draft the constitution, and 6.4 crores rupees were spent on the drafting it. So we can say it took almost 3 years to complete this document. And after this, the Indian Constitution came into effect on 26 January 1950, which is celebrated as Republic Day. Now, our next topic is importance of our constitution. What is the importance? See, here are some points, beta. First one is contains basic law that defines the powers and the functions of the government. That means basically हमारे जो constitution में बेटा बेसिक लॉज डिफाइन किए जाते हैं, उसमें पावर्स और फंक्शंस डिफाइन की जाती हैं गवर्नमेंट की. सेकेंड इज आवर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कंटेन्स वैल्यूएबल इंफॉर्मेशन रिगार्डिंग द स्ट्रक्चर, ऑर्गन्स, ड्यूटीज एंड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट. And it also contains, that means our constitution also contains rights and duties of the citizen. See beta, India has a diverse population. It is important to protect the right of the minorities. So our constitution guarantees certain rights also for the minorities, also to protect them against the oppression by the majority, and it prevents the misuse of the power by the government. That means हमारी गवर्नमेंट कोई भी मिसयूज़ अपनी मर्जी से कुछ भी ऐसा नहीं कर सकती, उसे लॉज और रूल्स के अकॉर्डिंग ही चलना पड़ता है. नेक्स्ट इज प्रोटेक्ट राइट ऑफ माइनॉरिटीज़, दैट आई हैव डिस्कस्ड विद यू नाउ. एंड अबाउट आवर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑल्सो गारंटीज certain fundamental rights to the citizens in order to protect them against any injustice by the government. Now the next topic is need for laws. Why do we need for laws? हमें ज़रूरत क्यों है इन लॉज की? सी बेटा, modern societies basically and other people are dependent on the society, and laws are meant for the welfare and the security of the people. They serve as a means of bringing about social change and establishing an egalitarian society. So, for smooth functioning, in simple words, we can say for smooth functioning of the society and for establishing peace and order, to provide safe and secure environment to the people, and to bring social change, to remove inequality in our society, we need laws. One most important and last is to curb social evils such as caste system, female feticide and dowry system. So in this beta, basically we will read about these two social evils, dowry system and female feticide, and in last we can say laws are meant for the welfare of the people. So let us read about some social evils and the efforts made by the Indian government to stop them through laws. So first one is as so many such social evils prevalent in India. So first one is the dowry system in India. So first question is, what is dowry? क्या होती है? दहेज means दहेज, जिसे हम हिंदी में दहेज कहते हैं. Dowry is the money or gifts given to the groom and his family by the bride's family at the time of marriage, and often dowry demands continue long after the marriage. So it is, in the beginning it was a voluntary practice, but later on it became a social practice where brides' families often forced to give dowry for their daughter's marriage, and it is still affecting the life of several women in India. Basically बेटा दहेज की वजह से अब तो नहीं है ये system, but earlier the system was there. So just because of the dowry system, so many women were survived in our country, and basically by the groom family. It is a source of joy for the groom and his relatives as they get cash, property, cars, jewelry, furniture to fulfill his greed. मतलब अपने लालच के लिए वो लड़की के घर से बहुत सा सामान मंगवाते हैं, जस्ट लाइक कैश, प्रॉपर्टी, कार्स, ज्वेलरी एट्सेट्रा. So but on the other hand, it is not less than a curse. Curse means just like a shrap. For many girls and their families, they need to spend a lot on marriages. Generally लोग लड़कियों की शादी करते हुए डरते हैं, क्योंकि उन्हें लगता है कि इतना जो अमाउंट है, इतना कैश, इतना सब कुछ उन्हें शादी में एज अ गिफ्ट देना पड़ेगा, एज अ डाउरी देना पड़ेगा. सो आर ऑफन डाउरी डिमांड्स कंटिन्यू आफ्टर मैरिजेस. ज़्यादातर जो ये डिमांड्स है बेटा कंटिन्यू रहती हैं आफ्टर मैरिज, and the inability to fulfill the demands result in physical or mental torture of the bride and in extreme cases leads to death. मतलब अगर उनकी डिमांड, लड़के वालों की डिमांड अगर पूरी नहीं हो पाती है तो उसका रिज़ल्ट क्या होता है? फिज़िकली या मेंटली टॉर्चर किया जाता है ब्राइड को, एंड इन एक्सट्रीम केसेस उसे मार दिया जाता है, जला दिया जाता है. डवरी क्रुएल्टी एंड डवरी डेथ. You can see in the pictures also. Now, what is the law against dowry? See, to curb the practice of dowry, the government has passed the Dowry Prohibition Act in 1961. 1961 में इसके अगेंस्ट एक एक्ट पास हुआ, that was Dowry Prohibition Act. And this act, in this act, गिविंग एंड टेकिंग डवरी इज़ अ पनिशेबल ऑफेंस. मतलब दहेज देना और दहेज लेना पनिशेबल था. एंड एनीवन कॉट गिविंग और टेकिंग डवरी इज़ लाइबल फॉर बोथ इम्प्रिजनमेंट एंड फाइन. अगर कोई भी ये लेता हुआ देता हुआ पकड़ा जाता है दहेज तो दोनों को ही जेल और फाइन होगी. ओके. And laws are not enough to curb these social practices. Generally laws enough नहीं होते, social awareness की भी need होती है बेटा. And so many things, just like girl अगर educated होंगी तो भी ये system follow नहीं होंगे. So that is why girl education और हमारे rights के बारे में हमें information होनी चाहिए. So our next social evil is female feticide. See beta, one of the fallouts of the dowry system is the practice of female feticide. Basically बेटा डावरी सिस्टम की वजह से ही एक नया ये सिस्टम स्टार्ट हुआ था, प्रैक्टिस ऑफ फीमेल फिटिसाइड. बिटर ट्रूथ ऑफ सोसाइटी. व्हाट इज फीमेल फिटिसाइड? मीन्स ए फीटस इज एन अनबोर्न ह्यूमन बीइंग इन इट्स लेटर स्टेजेस ऑफ डेवलपमेंट, और यू कैन से killing of female fetus in the mother's womb. Beta, today also daughters are considered a financial burden by many people. So thus female feticide is on the rise. और इसमें क्या होता है? killing of female fetus, that means birth से पहले ही उस बच्चे को मार देना, गर्ल चाइल्ड को मार देना. And even today, daughters are considered a financial burden by many people. Thus, the frequency of female feticide is increasing day by day, and this practice has affected India's sex ratio. Now, what is sex ratio? Means the number of females per 1,000 males is called the sex ratio. And about the 2011 census shows a decline in the number of females in the age group of 0 to 6 as compared to the 2001 census. And according to the 2011 census, there are 919 females per 1,000 males in the age group of 0 to 6 as against 927 females per 1,000 males in 2001. So you can see in the pictures also. So what is causes of female feticide? क्या causes हो सकते हैं? Obsession for son, बेटे की इच्छा होना. Second, fear of dowry by many poor class families. अब जो पुअर क्लास फैमिलीज़ है, अगर उनके घर पे बेटी होगी तो वो यही सोचेंगे उनकी शादी में इतना दहेज देना होगा. So that's why. Third is girls are considered as financial obligation by many parents. And advancement in technology. Nowadays parent determines the sex of a child before birth. मतलब उसकी बर्थ से पहले टेक्नोलॉजी के अकॉर्डिंग बर्थ से पहले उसका टेस्ट करके पता कर लेना कि बॉय है या गर्ल. एंड सम ऑफ द डॉक्टर्स डू दिस हीनियस एक्ट्स टू फुलफिल देयर मनी डिज़ायर. और जनरली डॉक्टर किस लिए करते हैं? फॉर द मनी, फॉर द कैश. सो व्हाट आर द कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज? सी, डिक्रीज इन फीमेल पॉपुलेशन. ऑब्वियसली बात है, अगर फीमेल फिटिसाइड का प्रोसेस चलता रहेगा तो फीमेल पॉपुलेशन कम हो जाएगी. Adverse effect on the woman's health, mentally, emotionally and the physically also. Women are abused and sexually exploited, leads in women trafficking also, and women are kidnapped, bought and sold for the marriages, and suicide rates in women will increase. That means the whole pressure are on the women only. So उसकी वजह से बहुत सारी social evils start हो जाती हैं. So what are the steps taken by the government to curb the practice of female feticide? Government has passed an act, law against female feticide, that is preconception and prenatal diagnostic techniques, prohibition of sex selection act 1994, or you can say PCPNDT act in 1994, and it was brought into effect from 1st January 1996. And this PNDT Act prohibits the determination and disclosure of the sex of the fetus. That means birth से पहले बेबी का सेक्स नोन नहीं कर सकते. दैट मीन्स बॉय है या गर्ल है उसके बारे में पता करना अलाउड ही नहीं है. एंड इट ऑल्सो प्रोहिबिट्स एनी एडवर्टाइजमेंट ऑफ प्रीनेटल सेक्स डिटर्मिनेशन. ओके, व्हाट इज सेक्स डिटर्मिनेशन? टू फाइंड आउट द सेक्स, बॉय और गर्ल, of the fetus through various medical techniques. And this act also prohibits any advertisement of prenatal sex determination. किसी टाइप की भी एडवर्टाइजमेंट भी इसके अगेंस्ट अलाउड नहीं है. एंड एनी वायलेशन ऑफ द PNDT एक्ट कैन रिजल्ट इन इम्प्रिजनमेंट एंड द फाइन. किसी भी टाइप की वायलेशन होती है यहाँ तो उसके बदले में जेल और फाइन हो सकता है. Now, our next topic is laws and dissent. What do you mean by dissent? Dissent meaning objection, non-conformity, disagreement or difference of opinion or disapproval. In laws and dissents, beta, basically laws are formulated for the welfare of the people. In the legislature, you have seen the work of lawmaking is done by the legislature and it is elected by the people. But it doesn't mean that all laws passed by the legislature are good. That means जो legislature में pass हुए हैं वो ज़रूरी नहीं है कि वो सबके लिए अच्छे हों. A situation may arise where a law might not be in the larger interest of the people. So what should the people do then? Should they obey the laws or express their disagreement? And if we look to our history, they can show their disagreement to the government through various methods. And if we look to our history, we will find many instances where people opposed laws for the larger good of the country. And first instance is the Salt Satyagraha of 1930. During the British rule, several unjust laws were passed by the government. For example, the Salt Law. And in this, what is the Salt Act? It prohibits Indians from collecting or selling salt. And Indian citizens were forced to buy this vital mineral from the British rulers only, and who used to charge a heavy tax on it. You know that salt is the basic need for the every person. So that is why उन्होंने salt पे ही tax लगा दिया. And the British imposed salt tax, according to which the manufacture and sale of salt become a British monopoly. Monopoly means single right, single person का right. That means only Britishian का ही right था कि उसे manufacture और sale करने का right सिर्फ Britishans के पास ही रहेगा. And no individual was allowed to make salt. And so that's why Gandhi ji launched Salt Satyagraha against this tax. On March 12, 1930, Gandhi ji along with his followers left the Sabarmati ashram at Ahmedabad and walked to Dandi, a village. Dandi is a village in the Ahmedabad, a village on the west coast of India, and he reached Dandi on 6 April 1930. You can see here, this is the place. कहाँ से start होके Dandi place तक उन्होंने पैदल मार्च किया, and here he protested against the tax by making salt. And on 6 April 1930, he broke the law by making salt at the coast. So here in this you can see he protested against the tax by making salt, and it signified a challenge to the authority of the government, and a large number of people participated in this march. And the Dandi March marked the beginning of the civil disobedience movement, which we will read in the history chapters. Okay. So next another movement was anti-liquor movement. Liquor means alcohol. So post-independence, India witnessed an anti-liquor movement led by the women in Andhra Pradesh, and they organized a large-scale protest against the increase in the number of liquor shops. So किसके अगेंस्ट उन्होंने किया था कि आंध्र प्रदेश में बहुत सारी जो लिकर की शॉप्स हैं इंक्रीज हो गई थी, एंड द लाइसेंस्ड लिकर शॉप्स हैड ओपनड अनऑथराइज्ड काउंटर्स टू इंक्रीज देयर सेल. सो पीपल हैड ईजी एक्सेस टू द लिकर, मतलब बहुत ईजीली उन्हें अल्कोहल मिलने लग गया था. सो दिस रिजल्टेड इन मैनी पुअर पीपल wasting their money on the liquor, and increase in poverty also, increase in criminal activities also. So some brave women decided to protest against the sale of liquor, and they launched an anti-liquor movement, and they knew that a ban on liquor shop would not be easy to enforce, as liquor was an important source of revenue for the government. So however, after much protest, the ban was imposed. हालांकि उन्हें पता था कि गवर्नमेंट को इससे बहुत इनकम होती है, बट आफ्टर दैट उन्होंने इसके अगेंस्ट प्रोटेस्ट किया और उस बैन को हटवा दिया गया. एंड लॉज हैव प्रूव्ड इंस्ट्रूमेंटल इन ब्रिंगिंग अबाउट सोशल रिफॉर्म्स. सो हाउएवर, laws alone cannot curb social evils also, and social awareness is also needed to change the mindset of the people. Now the last topic of this chapter is the rule of law. What do you mean by rule of law? means the rule of law means that everyone is equal before the law. See beta, you have read that our constitution provides a framework for administering the country, and a law which is against the fundamental rights of the people can be declared null and void by the Supreme Court also. So thus the rule of law will always prevail, and it implies that no one is above the law. रूल ऑफ लॉ इज़ एन असेंशियल फीचर्स ऑफ द डेमोक्रेसी. बहुत सारे फीचर्स हैं इसमें. एंड जस्ट लाइक एवरी वन इज इक्वल बिफोर द लॉ, even the president of a country and an ordinary citizen gets the same protection of the law, and it makes no discrimination between the rich and poor or the educated and the uneducated. However powerful a person may be, or he or she is bound by the law of the country. So how does the rule of law help protect our rights? कैसे help करता है? First one, the law applies to everyone. Second, nobody is above it. Second, laws can't be secret. वो secret नहीं है, सबके लिए available है. Third, no past laws. Amendment होती रहती है constitution में. Fourth, the courts make sure the law is correctly applied, कि जो laws बनाए गए हैं correctly apply किए जाएं. So in this way we can say that the rule of law will always prevail, and this principle not only regulates the power of the government but also stresses that everyone is equal before the law. So thus we can say that democracy and the rule of law complement each other. And one last thing is this: a law which is against the Constitution of India can be declared null and void by the Supreme Court, because Supreme Court is the apex court in our country. So this was your chapter. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye everyone.